Well, welcome to my video. I'm going to be building two kits of the same model, the Dukes of Hazzard 1969 Dodge Charger 125 scale by MPC. As you know, this kit has been discontinued because of the controversy regarding the Confederate flag on the top of the car. Warner Brothers no longer wanted to license this because of that controversy. I actually have already built a General Lee model, painted it orange. So these two I'm going to paint it a different color. We'll see how that comes out. I probably will not be using the decals. So let's open up the boxes, see what they look like. From the first one I built, it was a fairly decent model, not too much flashing, pretty accurate representation of the car that was on the show. You can probably still get them on the secondary market through eBay or through people who have bought them previously and no longer wish to assemble them. See what they look like. So it's molded in white, so it's fairly easy to paint to whichever color you want. Chrome, vinyl tires, some clear pieces. So what I'm going to do now is I will probably be taking the body and the hood and washing it in some dishwashing liquid to remove the residual oil or residue that's on the plastic during the molding process. So when you spray paint it, you'll get less orange peel or a much smoother paint job. So just ran a sink of water, put a little bit of dishwashing liquid, and this is of course to wash the residual oil off the plastic model, because during the molding process they do coat the mold with some oil or some chemicals so that after the mold they can remove the model fairly easy from the mold. So just put it in a bath, give it a quick wash and rub, and then I'm going to dry them. So I finished washing the models in the dish detergent solution. I just dried them, waiting for them to dry completely, and of course after examining the box, of course here are the decals. I probably will not be using the decal because, like I said, I already built a General Lee orange with the decal. So these I'm going to experiment and I'm going to paint them maybe a different color. Maybe I will, maybe I will not use the decals. Don't know yet. Probably will not. But I'm going to let them dry. Now I'm going to go through all the parts, familiarize myself with what colors I want them. I cut these off from the tree, and of course I leave a little bit of plastic so while you're spray painting them you have something to hold on to turn them. Just makes handling it much easier. Your fingers will get dirty of course, but at least you have something to hold them by. So I'm going to be using these spruce cutters and separating the parts, or at least familiarizing myself with which parts I want to be certain colors. It'll probably be the basics: flat black, gloss silver, the body color, and the interior. So I'll start cutting them up based on the color I want to spray paint them. So I've separated the parts based on what color I want to paint them. This is my modeling knife for trimming the flashing. One of the models happen to have a little bit more flashing than the other. Some of the parts I omitted is, of course, the roll cage. When I was putting together my orange General Lee, I just found that the roll cage did not fit into the interior, so I'm going to do without it. I already know what options I want. I don't want to put the one barrel manifold with the stock air cleaner, so I cut them out. Will not be painting them. The parts that obviously don't get painted is the metal axle, vinyl black tires, tail lens, clear parts, and chrome. I have them separated by what I want to paint them. So chassis is going to be flat black, along with the wheels, some of the engine components. Hopefully I have enough flat black left. Competition orange, which was the body color of the General Lee that I previously put together, will actually be the engine color. One of the models will be yellow exterior, and the interior will be gray. The second one, the interior will be wood or sand beige, and the exterior will be green. I'm doing a little bit of experiment. I usually use Tester's paint, but at like $4 or $5, I want to experiment and see if a $2 bottle from Home Depot will lead to the same effect. So I bought a yellow Rust-Oleum and a green Rust-Oleum, but this is a paint and primer, so we'll see what the results turn out to be. Considering that this is not my General Lee, because I already put one together, these two will be more of an experiment for me. I expect the paint coming from here, although cheaper, the rate at which it comes out of the nozzle might be quicker, so I have to work quick. And of course, this is putting models together with supplies and material that I already have or within my budget. Someday I would like to get an airbrush system where I can control the paint a little better and get a more professional finish, but for right now I'm still using spray cans. And I'm actually going to mount the body on an older can similar to this, so when I spray paint it I can handle the model much quicker by turning it, because I don't have a professional painting rotisserie or turntable to rotate it. Someday I would like to get that, but for now we'll see how it turns out. So I already removed excess flashing with the modeling knife, and I guess we're all prepped up and ready to paint. So all the parts are ready to be painted. One additional thing I did was use 3M blue masking tape to mask off the areas where I'm going to be spray painting that I actually do not need painted, such as where the wheels would be if you want them to roll smoothly, the interior where the seats will be. I also covered it up. So the advantages of spray painting is it's quick, you get a professional finish, but of course when you're gluing everything together, that's additional area you need to scrape off for the glue to adhere, as opposed to gluing it all together and not worry about scraping it and then having to hand paint them all piece by piece, which is what I used to do, but now I prefer spray painting. Also, all the prep work, I feel 5 minutes of prep work will save you 10 or 15 minutes in the back end. So I prefer to spray paint everything. It's just so much quicker. Here is my paint booth. It's basically a large box to catch the overspray, some bounty paper towels to catch the bulk of the paint so I can dispose of them. And as you can see, there's a lot of paint on this paint booth because I've been using it for years. I also spray painted outside because of the ventilation. I would like to eventually get a professional paint booth with its own ventilation system and with a round table so that I can turn the model 360 while I'm spray painting it, and of course an airbrush system. But for now, this will do. So I just finished spray painting all the different colors. Exterior yellow, exterior green, engine orange, chassis was gloss black because I ran out of flat black as I predicted, and you can see that I'm going to have to touch up some of the flat black by hand. But for the most part, pretty successful. The Rust-Oleum is not too bad, considering that's a lot cheaper than the Tester's paint, but the bottle is large and unwieldy. So now I'm just going to wait for it to dry and to cure. The longer you allow the paint to dry, the better it is. I've had kits where I've pre-painted it for 1 or 2 years and then I've gotten to it and the paint job dried and had a nice shell to it. So you definitely don't want to handle it when the paint is still wet. So the more time the better. 2-3 days, a week, 2 weeks. Like I said, I've had some paint jobs for like 1 or 2 years before I actually got to it, and the paint was very easy to handle.